Hey, what's up guys, Alex here, thank you for checking this video and welcome to another episode about Vala. In this tutorial we're going to take a look on how to implement our custom UI and make our app look way better and way more native than what it looks right now, because yes, right now it looks really bad. This episode is brought to you by SkySilk. If you're looking for a powerful, reliable and affordable VPS in the cloud, SkySilk.com is the answer for you. Look no further for amazing, powerful cloud computing machine starting as low as $1 per month. Click the link in the description below to learn more. So first of all, before following this tutorial, I suggest you to download the source of the design file that I generated in order to follow along and know how this app will work. If you follow the link in the description below the video, you will be able to download an archive, a zip file, where you can find inside a PNG file, an SVG file, and a Gravit Designer, which is the software that I use to design the application. And the UI, it's something really simple. It's a really typical user interface for a to-do app with some particular things specifically based on the GTK toolkit which we're using. So we're gonna have in the header bar some buttons, some actions like a GTK stack to switch between outstanding tasks and completed tasks, and an open menu button where you can use to access the preferences and change some default behavior of the application. So the first thing that I want to do, I want to implement the default GTK header bar that will allow me to add some unique buttons inside the header bar, because right now the default header bar that we have just has the title and we cannot add any custom buttons. So let's do it. First of all, inside our widgets folder, let's create a new empty file that I'm gonna simply call HeaderBar.Vala as usual. And once again, we need to specify the visibility of this class, and then the name, and I want to use my namespace, which is Jarvis, and then I can use header bar with camel case that extends with a column the default GTK header bar class. And once again, if you are confused on what to do and how to extend a class, on how to implement some specific aspects of GTK, I suggest you to go into the Vala doc documentation website and search for simply header bar. And the first result should be the gtk.headerbar here. You will have a quick snippet of how it will look and all the properties and methods that we're gonna use throughout these tutorials. But let's continue. Inside here, we're gonna simply create a construct class, which will be automatically triggered whenever we initialize this header bar class. And inside here, I wanna do a couple of things. So first of all, I wanna show you how to set the title and how to set the subtitle. Then I want to show you how to add button, like a really regular simple button, like a primary button like we saw in the design, and then how to add a icon button that consequentially will open a sub menu, or more precisely a pop-up menu, something that we see in a lot of apps, something that we can see exactly here inside the code editor of Elementary OS. You have this mode button icon that automatically opens this pop-up with a bunch of features. You can have simple links that they open other things or like they trigger other aspect of the application, or you can have some widget directly available inside here, like for example zooming or changing the color of your application. So we're gonna see how to do that. Before doing that, let's hook this header bar into our Maison build file and let's trigger inside our window. So first of all, let's access our maison.build file inside the source folder where we're listing all the files that we want to compile. And here let's duplicate this line and let's add the header bar.vala. Now inside our window, if we open our window.vala, here in the construct, we are simply setting the title of our application that automatically it's gonna print in the header bar. But we don't want to do that anymore. We want to create a new instance of the newly generated header bar and then attach it to our window. So say in our window that this window needs to use our GTK header bar, not the default header bar that comes with the window. So let's comment these out, and let's, right after the generation of all these things, before the show all, let's create a new variable. We're gonna call header bar, all lowercase, and the header bar is gonna be an initialization of the new jarvis.headerbar class that we previously specified. Now that we have this class, we need to tell the window.vala, the window of our application, to use this header bar as its own native title bar. And to do that, we can simply use a built-in method of the GTK window called setTitleBar, all attached, all lowercase, and inside the regular parentheses, regular brackets, we need to specify the GTK widget that we want to use as a title bar. In our case, our header bar. That kind of can sound a little bit confusing because the window has title bar, but the GTK header bar is another thing. So just remember, title bar and header bar are two completely separate things. Now, if we save it and we open our terminal and we trigger inside the build folder, as usual, Ninja, everything is correct. We trigger our application, Jarvis. Already you can see that our application looks completely different. So first of all, we don't have the title anymore because we're not specifying, and the header bar is way taller than the default title bar that was coming with the window. That's because the header bar has already some unique styling, GTK styling, based on the theme that you're running. In my case, I'm running Elementary OS, so my GTK style makes the header bar tall. But we don't have a closing button, we don't have a enlarge button. Even if we double click, it's gonna go full screen. We need to first write a title, a subtitle, make the closing and the enlarge button appear, and then add our custom button. So as usual, if we cannot close the app here, you can interrupt it by hitting Control-C inside the terminal and the app is closed automatically. Let's access back our header bar, and the first thing that we need to do is to use some built-in methods of the header bar to set some specific options. So if we reopen once again our Vala Gtk documentation, here in the properties of the GTK header bar, you see we have some title and subtitle that we can get and set by default. And then we have these little Boolean properties that it's called show close button. And that can be confusing, but the show close button actually doesn't only show the close button, but takes care of showing all the window decoration. So in our case, in the window decoration, we have a closing, enlarge button, some other distribution, they have a minimize button. All these options are behind these Boolean properties. So if we write once again here in our code editor, first of all, we can specify the title. So let's say set underscore title, and the title can be Jarvis. Then we can set a subtitle. So set underscore subtitle, and the subtitle, let me help you, something like that, pretty silly. And then we can use that property based on the documentation that accepts a Boolean. So we can specify show the close button or set the close button as a Boolean. So we can write simply once again set underscore show underscore close underscore button, and then specify a Boolean, in our case true. We want to show all these things. So if we open our terminal once again and we trigger Ninja, it's gonna compile everything. We trigger the application. There you go. Look what we have here. We have our header bar with the title, the subtitle, and the closing and the enlarge button. So all the window decoration that we were supposed to have are happening here. One important thing to remember in the way that GTK accepts the properties, and something that you can see how it works in the documentation, is that if a property has a get or set attribute, it means that you can write that specific property with the prefix set or get, like we're doing here. So we have the title property, we want to set the title, so we're writing simply set underscore title. But that doesn't mean that we cannot use the property by itself. In fact, if we remove the set the title and we simply say, hey, the title, it's equal to Jarvis, actually let's remove the S. So we say title, it's equal to Jarvis, and once again we compile our application with Ninja and we trigger it, it's always the same. So all these properties, since they have a get and set attribute, that can be written the way we want it. So we can simply say like this without specifying any prefix, the title it's equal to Jarvis, the subtitle it's equal to let me help you, and the show close button it's equal to true. These are simply different ways of writing your code. It's not right or wrong. You can define your own code convention. The important thing is that you stick with one convention. You don't use multiple ways of writing code that can be confusing for both for you and for other users to contribute to your code, and just try to keep your code clean and maintainable as possible. So now that we did all of this, if once again we trigger our Ninja compiling and we trigger our app, the result is exactly the same because nothing changed. We just simply use a different way of writing the same property. So that's pretty much it for this video. This was a really quick tutorial to show you how to implement the GTK header bar. In the next one, we're going to implement the mode button here with the icon and then the primary button to the left, and it's going to be pretty awesome. That's pretty much it for this video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel, and until the next lesson, as usual, happy coding!